got our bikes in the background there. I thought this would be good just to have a coffee. We're going to talk about the DGR because I didn't get to go this year, but you did. And it was awesome to see you putting photos everywhere. And I'm always jealous when I miss out on that one. So it was your first day.
Yeah, I was going to do it last year.
Yeah.
And this is quite funny. So I bumped into Bruce Wally at the...
Twisted Tails.
Yeah.
Probably, Twisted Grip Tails.
Twisted Grip Tails, yeah.
He'll be watching.
He saw me, I was lining up for a cup of tea, and I was like...
Where at?
At the meet point in Ormond Road, I think it was, just in Brighton.
Yeah.
And they had like the quad lock set up.
Yeah.
The mustache grooming set up.
Yeah.
Whatever they were doing there. And then a little coffee van.
Nice. So you just went along and looked at it, and then he was on to you, let's make sure you ride this next one.
Yeah, pretty much. And then, spotted me out of the crowd, and he had his camera and microphone. He's like, oh, well, hello.
You've become quite the social media motorcycle dude, really.
Pretty much an ambassador now.
Yeah. You got Bruce on, I'm getting you on all these things. So is that been just a hobby for you, or like what's...
I think initially, like once I got into motorcycle riding, it's funny because like, you know, your phone's always listening. All these ads started popping up. Ads for braaap before I even bought my bike started popping up. And
we know you're thinking about it before you know you're thinking about it.
And then, you know, if you're a motorcycle rider, try these jeans out, or get a quad lock, or, you know, intercoms. Like it just, and it works obviously. Yeah. I'm a sucker. But it kind of started off as like a side hobby because of all these things I was finding online and stuff, and YouTube and Instagram and all that sort of thing. And like, I'm not going to quit my day job anytime soon, but it's nice to have like something on the side that is slowly building. Awesome, I guess, man. You know, like I've gotten a lot of messages of people like, hey man, how did you do this to your bike? And
that's cool.
Do you find like the white walls, what do they do to the ride and that sort of stuff? And it's just like going through all these messages, which sounds a bit like, you know,
that's cool though. It makes it fun.
Bit of an ego boost.
Studio audience.
It makes it fun.
Yeah. So I like being able to take the time and replying and saying like, you know, this is what I've done and this is how I've solved this problem. Yeah. You know, if there is one.
That's so good. We're really trying to harness that because it means, I think in this kind of social media world, the more you can harness the crowd, like guys like you who are awesome, like into it, love it, it's a passion. And like you also like get a kick out of helping as well. Yeah. It creates such an awesome community around the bike. I reckon riding's only part of it, eh? Yeah.
One of the big things for me too in getting into motorcycle riding was getting my hands dirty and being able to be a bit of a backyard mechanic, I think, as well.
How are you now with it?
It's still shocking. I can change my oil and tighten my chain.
That's good. I think that's a studio audience right there.
So, you know, it's learning these things along the way of like, you know, when the day that I picked up my ST250, one of the first things that said to me was, don't go over 80 kilometers an hour. Yeah. And I got on the freeway and forgot all about that. And at first I was like, crap.
Yeah.
Well, they said don't do that. Yeah. And sure enough, like I had issues after, but it was because of that. Yeah. You know, driving 105 kilometers an hour, trying to push a brand new engine as fast as I could, being a learner dummy. So
how much you pay for yours?
Well, this was in 2021. There was like a huge promo going on, so it's about $2.5 grand all up for a brand new motorcycle.
That's wild.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, what's the catch? You know,
these people are like that. You know, one of our biggest comments on Facebook is like, "Is this a scam?" Yeah, because like the pricing's wild, and especially now leasing, we're like, just take it, no credit checks.
And this was during a lot of the COVID interruptions as well. Like, I think I reckon I waited maybe 3 weeks between messages. Like, we have your order, we're building your bike, come and get it.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
Yeah, and I was like, what are people talking about? I've had nothing but, you know, a happy customer with a voice.
It's good, and we love it. Yeah. No, it does mean a lot to us. Like, especially probably the guys who watch this type of stuff are similar to you as well. Like, there's actually quite a community getting in these forums now and like cheering us on, and like not even cheering us on, just like getting alongside other riders. Yeah, I reckon that's awesome. We're really trying to harness that. So yeah,
I was thinking earlier today, like, of talking points for this. positive and if negative come up. I think a common misconception is, you know, someone like me, I'll buy a motorcycle and then go, right, I'm going to do this to it. Oh, hey, it's not working now, it's your fault.
Yeah, yeah.
It's because you didn't put the spark plug back in properly or the kill switches stayed on.
We get that a lot, quite a bit, because we get a lot of new customers, which we love, and we're trying to encourage people to, like, we offer the self-service program and all that type of stuff, but we're not really offering like an education. Although there's heaps of support docs, we're not trying to promote that we can take you from zero to hero as a mechanic. But I love like guys like you who you can't help but stop at that. You just want to get your hands dirty and do stuff.
Yeah, like if, you know, I'll do all the basic stuff to it in the driveway, but when it comes to stuff I have no clue about, like when my throttle cable snapped the other week, the first thing I was like, Paul, help me out please.
Give me a hand, I like it. So my main thing here is I just wanted to chat about the DGR to start with, because it's such an awesome event. Cafe Racer Central, dress up dapper, everyone puts on their old school outfits, that's why you got the stash. Or you were probably, not year round.
Yeah, I get this a lot. Everyone's like, oh, are you doing it for November? I'm like, nah, I just don't like a clean shaven face. And my beard is too red, so this is the in-between. You know, like, plus my girlfriend would kill me if I shaved my mustache off. So.
Dude, you've hit like the 2023 like stereotype cafe racer rider. You're literally the dude that we drew on the whiteboard. So
yeah, if I'm not like covered in tattoos and.
That's true. So DGR's for a good cause. But the thing I love about it is the community. Like, get to see cafe racer guys get their bikes out, get their old school kits out and go ride. So we'll flick through a few photos on this video here, but last time I did it was up in Sydney actually, so I went op shopping the day before.
That where the first one sort of started?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I didn't go to the first ones. I've only been to like sporadically. I missed last year and stuff like that, but we went op shopping and you got kitted out. It was awesome, and just love seeing everyone's bikes.
I made the mistake of wearing like my nice suit. So my plan was to borrow my brother's all black suit, so it was black from head to toe. I was going to match my bike, and then I got to his place the night before, and I was like, so, like, what's the go, man? Where's the suit? He's like, oh, I don't know it. So Connor, if you're watching,
pull your socks up, mate. Pull your socks up.
Find the suit, please.
The salvos hooked me up. So roll through some of the photos. Put a photo of me and the crew. We did one in Sydney, one here. I think I might have wore the same outfit 2 years in a row, so I'm going to get busted here. But
I'd do the same.
Did you see like all types of bikes? I'm guessing custom cafe races.
Yeah, the one of the most interesting things was looking at like the design of the ST250. Yeah. I didn't feel like out of place. I felt like I was sat right in.
That's cool.
You know, just like the way that I've kitted it out.
Looks good.
It kind of mirrored a lot of the Royal Enfields that were sort of sitting around. And, there was like a bunch of like backyard bikes that were built.
I like that. Like
SR400s. All your Triumphs and this. Saw a bunch of Harleys as well, which was, you know, it was good to see a lot of diverse bikes. It wasn't just for the, you know, the Bonnevilles and all that sort of stuff.
That's the thing, like what you just said there, like you didn't feel out of place on the ST. That's something we really aim for. That's why it's got really limited branding. Like you go in, it's full matte black. You can't really tell it's a 250 if you're just looking at it. Like it's fully blacked out.
It doesn't sound like a 250 now. So
you cut them off like that.
No, I've got the. I think it was meant to be the hot dog exhaust.
Yeah, it's the trumpet one maybe.
I think when I came in, they were like, this one's louder. Take that. Like, yes, please.
So, I'll take the loud one. I got the stock exhaust on today, but I love it with I normally run the reverse cone. So, but that's the thing I like about it. You can buy a bike like super affordable prices, brand new, you know, that type of thing. You got support, but you still fit into the old school setup. Like I love what Deus have done with their SR400s and all the bikes that they customise. Like we'll flick through a few now, chuck a few photos up for us, Josh. But like, I just think it's awesome, and to be able to do it on a new bike, that's the thing I love, because my old man has about 30 bikes from the 70s and 80s around the workshop.
I think I've seen some of the Hondas, the blue ones and stuff.
And he's always working on those things, so nothing like riding a new bike. But what was some of the like standout, like do you see any new setups, like as in from a customisation, like you got the white walls, you got a flat seat, like did you get any? You also got the Trip Machine grips on that thing too, so...
Yeah, I've really kitted that out, to be honest. I think there's not much to do left, but maybe put a windshield on now at this point.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Or the next thing I'd want to do is try and get like a wireless charging thing
for your quad lock.
from a phone case. Yeah, but that's you know, for me A to B at the moment is getting there. But I was telling Josh before that during the ride when we were going through Williamstown, there was a guy literally right next to me. So we're riding like 2 per lane. Yeah, and he had like a customised ST250, did his own paint on it.
So you didn't know the dude? Just
no, I didn't know him, but I like, you know, you ride it, you recognise it anywhere you go. You're like, there's another one.
Well, no, I hardly got any riding in because I was too busy like looking at bikes and chatting, and like I was loving it. I was buzzing on just what custom stuff people have done. It's pretty cool. We're actually trying to build the custom Cafe Racer page on our website at the moment, just to show like what guys like you and all these other blokes have been doing, because it's pretty awesome. Yeah, it's been a great journey being able to, you know, 6 months down the track, I might do this, and then 3 months later, I'm going to grab these wheels, and then that's awesome. It's a new bike.
Another year later, you might go, no, I might change the handlebars now. Like having that option and not making it just stock all the time. Yeah. Like I know a lot of bikes you can do that with. Yeah. And completely customize them yourself. But just being able to see what that looks like, either like on the website or, you know, on the Facebook pages and stuff, and see what other guys are doing. Because as I was saying to Josh before, the inspiration comes from seeing what people are doing. So for me, I've been bugging your mum a bit lately. Sorry, Andrea. I picked up a second-hand tank from her that I want to strip back and see what like bare metal looks like.
That looks sick. There's one on the blog, actually. Oh,
there is?
Yeah. Okay. You'll have to, some guy ground it like with an angle grinder, like lightly grind everything right back and then clear coat it. Yeah,
so for me it'd just be paint stripper and see what happens from there. Because I'd really like to go gloss black. The last group ride we did up at Arthur's Seat, there was a guy that he did his tank, his fenders, and his side covers.
That looks cool, eh?
And it just that shine, I was like, damn, no, I want to do that.
I think we might have to move to gloss black for a standard bike, because it's much easier to maintain it doesn't look as dirty when it gets dirty.
Yeah.
So that's good for us.
That's another thing, just keeping the white walls clean as well.
Any tips on that? Actually, this is a question for me, because I've just taken my white walls off because I couldn't get them to not go yellow, so any tips?
So, at the start, when I first got them, a mate of mine just put some degreaser on, and
that's a bad idea.
Yeah, you don't do that because it cracks. But apparently, like brake cleaner works as well, just a little bit. Yeah. Some guy on the forum said toothpaste as well, or like the washing detergent. Ajax, and just getting a sponge and I don't know. Someone out there's probably got like a...
Yeah, give us, if you're listening, I'm looking for white wall paint. I haven't found any actually. I went to Super Cheap and to Repco and all those, Autobahn and that. Couldn't find any actual white wall paint for the sides, so need to find that. But yeah, it's hard to maintain white walls, but they do look sick. I reckon they make the bike a totally different bike.
I think it keeps you looking after your bike a bit longer, because you don't want to roll up and someone goes, geez, that looks pretty dirty. And it's
true, So another question I got. I noticed that your mum's got a bike now.
She does,
and your dad as well, is that right?
So dad he ended up getting a Harley a couple of years ago.
Yeah, nice. So did he get one before you got this?
No.
So you're first.
That's a funny story. Yeah. So I got my learners in July 2021.
Yeah. And did you order the bike before or after?
I think I'm pretty sure it was after, because I got my learners and I was just sitting there itching, and I think originally I was looking at like the Honda Rebel 500s.
They're awesome, I like them. What are they worth when you look at
Well, it was like 10 to 12 grand.
Yeah.
So
still about the same.
I'm going to sidetrack here a little bit. I'd never ridden, as I said before, legally. When I was like 14 or so, my cousin and he got a dirt bike and we were riding it around a paddock. Yeah. That's the only time I'd ever ridden, and he fell off, and that kind of scared me. So
your mum letting you ride dirt bike.
I went into skateboarding after that.
Oh, that's way more dangerous.
So then fast forward to like the last 5 years of me just winding and grinding, trying to figure out like, is this something I want to do? And then my girlfriend got sick of me talking about it and ended up getting me a voucher for my birthday.
Dude, you need to write down in the Worried Partner's Guide to Motorcycling how to get that one across the line.
Yeah, just keep talking about it. Just keep looking at bikes, showing your partner bikes. Yeah.
Siri's watching now as well. Siri will be on your team too.
And then so after July, I basically spent like 2 weeks sitting at home, hating that I was driving to work still. And I think the ST just kept coming up in ads, and I just kept like looking at YouTube videos like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna do it.
Where
Paid for it, and then
online, just bang bang.
Then I waited
Never met us?
No, then I waited that 3 or so weeks.
Yeah.
My dad dropped me off to pick it up.
Yeah.
And he's like, right, see ya. I was like, aren't you gonna follow me? Like, he's like, no, you're a motorbike rider now. You'll be fine.
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah. So I reckon maybe like 4 months after that, I could see Dad was itching because he has his license, but he hadn't ridden for like 8 years.
Yeah. Did he ride yours or?
Yeah, he rode it, and he was like, whoa, no. Then he met a woman, and she had a Harley, and that changed everything.
Bang, he's on.
Yeah, I think I was convincing him and trying to get like him
so
on the bike. I was like, just buy one, come with me. I need people to ride me. I don't know anyone. And so he ended up buying a Harley, and
nice.
I think probably a year of me riding, my mum could just see like how much it changes. You know, just your cost, like how much it costs and how much you're saving.
How much were you? You told me this once before, and I can't remember the number, but you worked it out.
It was like four grand or something a year on
just
fuel
on petrol
and rego and what's it called? Insurance.
Yeah.
You know, mental health.
Is that included in the 4 grand? Is that a plus?
That's a plus.
Yeah. So you flogged your car off, got rid of it.
Well, actually, I sold my car probably like 5 years ago, and my partner and I were sharing a car while we were living in Sydney.
Yeah.
So, it got to the point where I was sick of borrowing her car. It wasn't mine. Yeah. But I was driving. And I think that was also the big drive for her to say,
so comparable cost, about 4 grand a year if you had a car, but you were driving your missus, so it's even worse. Yeah. So you've got to share one or whatever.
Exactly. And at this stage, I was living in Brunswick and working in Sorrento. Yeah. You know, so I put some kilometres on it. And then mum got pretty into it. Yeah. She got sick of me talking about it, and
man, you're the catalyst.
Yeah, we actually, my brother and my sister and myself all put in money to get her learners.
Nice.
But then COVID happened, and she waited.
Could she ride, or was she like totally green?
Sorry, Mum.
You're just like
she can drive manual and drive a car fine.
Yeah.
And ride a bicycle. So I was like, you have the makings of being a great rider, but just
that sounds a really optimistic son.
So she actually did it the opposite way. She went and bought the Moto 3 first. Yeah. And then because she
got
was
the braaap Moto 3, which is like 2020 model or something.
2020, yeah. The all black one.
Yeah, nice.
Which looks sick.
Looks good, yeah.
So she got that, and then she was still living on a farm now. So basically, she was learning up and down the driveway on the farm.
Perfect.
And maybe a couple of trips of me down the dirt road that's on as well. And then slowly started building her confidence up. Yeah. I went for her tests, passed. Yeah. And then that day, I picked her up. Well, I picked her up and we went for a ride that afternoon. And
dude, that's awesome. Got her in.
Yeah. Now she's actually riding to and from work now from, I think it's Tyab to Rosebud.
That's, what's that like, 20 minutes, 30 minutes?
Yeah.
That's so good.
On the days that it's, you know, like this and windy and nice.
That's so good. And does she work out how much she saves, or she just does it because she loves it?
No, I think she's just more of a bit of a speed demon at the moment now. She's a bit of a throttle head.
Love it. Like, you're 32, it comes full circle. Mum wants to come riding with you again. So.
And the scary part too is being, like, I let her go in front sometimes just so I can sort of see what she needs to get better at.
How good is it to do as a family?
So, you know, there's been times where I feel like a worried parent being like, oh, that corner, don't take that corner.
The reverse roles. Yeah. I love it. Well, that's an encouragement. Like, we're trying to do a lot of stuff around Learn or Improve. Like, it is pretty easy to ride a motorcycle. Yeah. Like, to learn how to do the clutch and gears and take off loads, pretty easy. You can go do a pre-learner course if you've never had any experience. If your mum can do it, I'm guessing anyone can do it. My mum rides as well. She has a license. If Annie can do it, anyone can do it. So
you just got to get over that. It's like when you learn to drive a manual car.
Yeah.
You're going to stall it. I mean, you're not going to drop it because you can't drop a car, but
True.
You know, there were times where she was learning on my bike, and I was like, oh, there goes my chain. I'm gonna have to tighten that up. And sure enough, she'd get off, and I was like, look at the tension
the
here.
Yeah.
But she, you know, it was a good bonding experience as well.
Yeah.
Especially when through COVID, if I was living in the city when she was down here, like.
Yeah.
You know, I couldn't see much of my family and stuff, so it was good to be able to have a common interest,
I think it's good for any, especially as you get a bit older, like to have a common interest like that, to go do something that's awesome.
Yeah, when you get to, you know, the young age of 31, you actually like hanging out with your parents.
It's so true. A-Bomb, Annie Smith, a lot of the guys watching probably know Mum, so she'd be watching this as well. She's braaap's #1 fan, so it's good, man. And so next question I wanted to ask, can we look at the Honda Rebel? Because I reckon it's a great bike, by the way. And a lot of guys, I mean, 100%. They're looking at it. It's one of the best, I think, learner approved, premium kind of cafe cruiser like that. Yeah. Kind of bobber, like in that category.
Yeah, it just reminded me a lot of like the Harley, like Sportster. Yeah. It had that kind of frame.
It's nice,
it was low to the ground.
A lot of guys are looking at cafes are also open to the bobber look. Like it's a lot of guys sway kind of between the two a little bit. And so what size engine are they?
They're not a 500, they're like a 480 something or 487.
When you got yells, you were looking at a brand new one or a used one?
Nah, well, I had a bit of money saved.
Yeah.
But my whole thing was I didn't want to like spend all of my savings.
Yeah.
And then like I didn't know how to ride efficiently, you know. So yeah. But yeah, I just didn't feel comfortable dropping, you know, 10 to 12. I treated it like when I had my first car, it didn't reverse. And I wanted, I wanted the rite of passage of having something that was cheap and affordable. But I approached it the same way, like I'm probably going to drop it, I'm going to scratch it, you know. And so I just and I thought if I ended up getting a Honda Rebel or even a Royal Enfield, something like that.
What were they looking at when you were
around the same price, like
10 grand,
8 to 12-ish. Used new was around 10 to 12. New was like 8 to 9.
It's such an interesting one.
Well, which is a big drop of money for someone who really doesn't know what they're doing.
It's true. You know? Well, first, like you got to look at like the damage you might cause, like because you're new and stuff, and also just the risk of like, you know, it's your first new bike type thing. But also the thing as well is that they are such an expensive bike that there's a depreciation value. So you spend 12 grand, as soon as you roll it off the showroom, you've burned a bit of cash, like whatever that amount is. Or you get a used one, and parts for a Honda or a Royal Enfield are much more expensive than ours. So that's a big thing that we try and like educate people into, to say like, I mean, you should always have a dream bike. I love motorcycles, so I'm like, my favourite bike is I love the Buells, especially the old ones. They're awesome. So like, I love all types of motorcycles, and I think you should have like a bike to aspire to, but I also don't think you should just have one bike. So.
Yeah, one of the best things I heard on the DGR was a guy was complaining that his like 1970 Honda something wouldn't start. So he was like, oh, I just took the other bike. I was like, that's the coolest sentence I've ever heard, because if I said that to my partner, oh, I'm not going to take this bike today, there actually wouldn't be 2 bikes in the driveway. I think it should just be like, you've got one, that's enough.
Yeah. My old man has a formula. He says the number of bikes you need can be worked out in one mathematical equation, and it's n plus 1. And n is the number you currently have, and the formula is n plus 1, so you always need more. Yeah. And he buys his bikes for mum, so.
Exactly.
But I think it's like talking about the like always having another bike to aspire to. I think as a motorcyclist, you kind of do have that. And if you're getting into your L's, it's awesome to be like, all right, when I finish my P's and I got my full license, maybe I will go try it.
I'm comfortable trying something that's not, you know, this motor.
Do you know what? Like, I reckon, this is a guess, but I reckon about 75% of the people that we say, hey, just buy your 250 or your 400 and treat it as a for now bike. Go get your 1,000 once you know you can type thing. I reckon about 60 to 80% of those people just keep the 400 or the 250. Because they might go try 1,000 and be like, I'm not on the racetrack.
Yeah,
you know,
I think my brother's already dibs my bike when I upgrade at some point, but I'm sort of on the fence, like, well, it's good to be able to just, you know, get up in the weekend morning and go, I'm just going to go for a coffee, which is why they're aptly named cafe races, you know?
True.
They're not heavy, bulky, things that are, you know, if you're dropping, it's going to take 5 people to lift it up. So.
That's true. And split between stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So next question I had for you. I'm trying to think back to my because I've been meaning to catch up with for so long. Last one you did without me, I couldn't make it.
That's all right.
But I love this, like trying to figure out the learner stuff. I think you represent a lot of people who look at what we do, and that's why I was so keen to get you on here and just have a chat and hear your story and like how you got your mum into it, your dad into it, your brother's getting into it, like you're 2 years into your riding journey. I think it's so awesome to see someone come from, you know, being interested, 5 years of, you know, telling your missus you want to get into motorcycling, and then
I'm
finally
just sucking
get
everybody
one,
in.
and now you're getting everyone across the line.
Yeah.
So we love that, and the way you've like just got around the braaap community, that's so awesome for us. Like, yes, you're like supportive of us, but most importantly, like you're alongside riders, and I just reckon that's the coolest thing, especially in this online age. I reckon I'm the most like abused person on the internet, so like we really value people like you. And we should have printed a few of the internet comments out so we could read. But
oh, that'd have been fun. I'd
like,
love to have read them.
I want to do a few of those, but just like we're trying really hard to make the owners groups exclusive now. Because what we found was a lot of the trolls don't actually own braaps.
Yeah.
So it's awesome to have guys like you that are in there sharing what you're doing on your bike, sharing your rides. Like, what have you done? Like 3 or 4 braaap like community rides now as well?
I think I've done just about every single one of them, to be honest.
Awesome. And there's some great likes, like when you, or men and women, but when you kind of get to know the crew offline.
Yeah, and we got a group chat going now. So.
Oh really? That's awesome.
Yeah, but it's good having that that community as well. Like, it doesn't always have to be about, you know, motorcycle riding. Like people can join the group rides and go, man, I'm having a pretty shit week.
Yeah.
Well, let's go for a ride and talk about it.
That's
or,
awesome. What is you said earlier there's a mental health aspect to riding for you. What's riding do for you personally? Oh,
it's every time I put a helmet on, I'm like, all right, everything that's back at home or uni or work or whatever that's stressing me out or causing, you know, probably the start of some grey hairs.
Yeah.
It just goes away, and I'm just hyper focused on the road, or if I'm riding with someone, I'm looking at their bike, I'm looking at mine, I'm thinking, fuck, this is sick.
That's so good. There's nothing like that focus.
If I'm riding to work, you know, all the school kids will come up to the gate and they're like, Mr. Mac! And I'm like, oh, God.
Do you give it to it?
A little bit, sometimes.
The other teachers must be thinking.
Some of the teachers are like, you know, oh, you're a pretty cool teacher, blah, blah, blah. Is it dangerous? I'm like, well, anything you do is dangerous, isn't it? I don't know. But I get a lot of parents that just like give me looks as I'm coming out of the school. So I've got my tinted shade on so they can't see my eyes, and I'm just like,
I gave your kid an F today.
Trying so hard not to stall it or over rev it or just be loud and obnoxious as I'm leaving the school. So.
That's awesome. Yeah. What about the dangers? How have you found the safety or the danger of riding? You feel you're definitely exposed. You're like a you know, exposed nerve when you're on a bike. And I reckon it's obviously never going to happen, but when people will get their learners for driving, I reckon they should do a week on a motorcycle. So true. Or a bicycle.
Yeah, just because like the amount of near misses I've had, people that haven't seen me because they're like looking at their phones. And, like I've had guys, you know, tilt their phones on a car mount watching YouTube while they're driving.
Wow.
You know, just I think it just makes you more aware and a better driver, because when I'm in the car, I'm looking up ahead and assessing what's going on like 50 metres ahead. And, you know, there's been times where I was on the Monash the other night actually heading up for the DGR the night before, and it was pissing down with rain.
Oh man, that sounds...
Which, if you've ever ridden in rain, it sucks.
Yeah, especially on the Monash.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it was like 40 heading up to 60 kilometres, and this guy had a trailer with a car on it that he was towing but didn't have brake lights connected.
Oh man.
So he just come to a sudden stop and I've locked up. I didn't hit him, but you know, slipping all over the place, and I just was like, no. Got off shaking. I was like, Mum, I'm fine. This just happened.
Wow. It's full on. I reckon as a motorcyclist, like there was a guy, we don't really see it like too often crashes, really. Like,
Are you talking about the cruiser the other week?
Yeah, that guy on the cruiser. So I can't remember the guy's name, but he's probably watching, so stoked you're okay, man, but we're going to talk about you. Can you remember who it was?
No.
Sorry.
I don't know if it happened in Melbourne either.
I think it was Flinders Street. But the photo was pretty dramatic. So basically someone ran a red, from what I understand, and hit him and the bike fell over. So that happens as a motorcyclist. We don't hear it very often. Like we have 10,000 bikes out on the road or that we've sold. So who knows how many are riding. And we probably hear, I think that was the first one in that group actually.
That's the first one I've seen.
Yeah, so and there's 4,000 riders in that group. So it's a very low frequency of that type of thing happening. But the thing that I picked up, and I didn't comment on the group chat in the Facebook because I felt like my comments would be taken out of context. But so he took off and someone went through a red and hit him. As a motorcyclist, I say, if that was my son, I would have said that was your fault. You should have seen the guy and you got to take responsibility.
Yeah, you just got to anticipate that everyone is trying to kill you on the road. That's the first thing my dad said to me when I got my learners.
Yeah.
As he drove away, kind of like, I don't know if he's done the right thing here.
Yeah.
But first thing he said was just, everyone's trying to kill you.
So true.
The best place to be is at the front.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can do that now on your learner. They might have changed it, but my mum seems to think that you can lane split and get ahead of traffic at traffic lights.
I do that, and I'm not sure, you might want to check the laws in wherever state you are, but I do that for sure. I think it's safer. But what I'm trying to get at is that I think motorcycling, if you treat it as dangerous, your likelihood of being safe is really high. I'm coming up to 20 years on the road, never had an incident. But I've seen guys pull out, I've seen guys not indicate, I've seen people go through red lights. And when I first met my wife, I remember the first time I went driving with her, and she went through a green light, at an major intersection, and she just looked ahead. And I was the most nervous. And I just remember it really distinctly, because if I go through an intersection, even if it's green, I'm checking, there's no one around. But she doesn't come from a motorcycling family, so she's never thought of that.
But now she does.
And now I'm if someone crashes into you, that's your fault. And so that's just a real encouragement to people, just to be aware. It is safe if you treat it with respect.
And if you do it safely as well. If you don't ride like a dickhead.
So true.
I don't want to be too specific on the type of riders that I see a lot in St Kilda.
Let's talk about that actually, because I'll go first. I'll define that type of rider. I think speeding, obviously, racing. If you go to the racetrack, I'm a racer. I see young blokes all the time. I get sent Instagram messages of people trying to go fast on other types of bikes. And I'm always dude, come to the racetrack. I'd be happy to race you. Let's do that, but not on the road.
No.
And I think if you go fast on the road, you've probably never crashed. I raced motocross, so I've broken enough bones to know how much it hurts to crash. And that's probably why I've never crashed my road bike, because
But it's a different type of ride too. You're just riding to get to somewhere.
I'm not pushing it. I'm not going to crash my road bike. I know it hurts if you do, so I'm not trying to go fast.
You're not trying to beat the clock.
So I think going fast is obviously a problem, but I also think going slow is not safe. So I think being overcautious is not safe. You got to be aggressive, be defensive, be decisive, those type of things. So I would call a painful rider someone who's indecisive, someone who's way over conservative, and most of all, someone who's asleep at the wheel. So we had a learner, they're probably watching, so I might not name them.
Don't name drop.
They came to the shop the other day and they couldn't see, they obviously had the GPS on. I don't think you're allowed to do that in Victoria either. But
I don't think so either.
Yeah, so they looked at the address and they were obviously looking around to try and find our street number or whatever. And there was on a weekend, so the shop and that was closed. So there's just a street number. Can't really tell our warehouse has got motorcycles, but there is a big street number there. And I was standing not on the footpath, but on the nature strip, so a little bit off the road, and I'm waving like this, and this person just rode straight past me twice. And I would say your ability to ride with a strong peripheral vision is incredibly important.
Because your visibility, you don't have much. And then all helmets are different as well, but I've always found that I can rely on my mirrors, but I always like to just double check if I'm changing lanes or anything, because I wear glasses, so that's already an added thing that I've got to worry about. If I'm not wearing them, I can't really see, and then if I do have them in, because we're in winter now, I'm kitted up with a scarf, it fogs up, and it's just all these things I've got to think about.
Yeah.
You know.
So that's my description of a painful rider. What's yours?
I'm just going to throw my mum under the bus for a second, only because she knows about it now, and
you've pumped her tyres up enough. It's time, if she hasn't watched this far, it's time to bring her crashing back down to earth.
I've noticed that as a learner, and I probably did it too, is if you're, you know, getting on a freeway or something, or you're getting on a main road, it's really important to match the speed that you're getting on.
So true. Man,
because I've ridden with her, you know, on the freeway, and I'm already like kilometers ahead. I'm thinking, where is she?
Yeah.
And she's just taking her time. Like, you really need to. Yeah. You just have to put your head down, do the speed limit.
Yeah.
And hope no one hits you.
I like it.
I think that is a big thing. Just like being able to match the speed limit. I think knowing where you're riding as well is a huge.
So plan your trip.
Yeah, like I wouldn't go out to the Dandenong Ranges by myself. Well, probably now I would, now that I'm more confident.
Yeah.
But if I was, you know, on my learners and stuff, there's no way I would go anywhere out like that. Yeah. On roads I don't know, corners I don't know.
Not on the highway. I highly recommend. Don't go like if you're in Melbourne, don't go M1, go Nepean, that type of thing.
Yeah. So the first 2 months I had my learners, I didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
So I was doing Monash.
Oh,
I was doing Eastlink.
That's
on the ST from Brunswick to Sorrento at.
How many Ks you put on that thing?
Now?
Yeah.
It's nearly done 19,000, I think.
I don't think I'm
going to be able to sell it. So I don't know if anyone wants to buy an ST for 20,000 Ks.
There's a guy who sent me a text today. Did you see it? This is, I put it up on the internet. I think he's got you covered. I'll tell you how many he's done. So I put it on Instagram stories. He's got you covered.
47, okay.
47,988 on an ST250. Yeah. That's having a crack. So
there's a new record.
You're not even halfway.
No.
So no, it's good. I love it.
I think too, I absolutely hate seeing guys riding in shorts.
Yeah.
It just gives me shivers up my spine.
I'm guilty of that sometimes.
Yeah. Oh look, you can do it in Bali, just don't do it here.
I'm not doing it in winter. Yeah. No, I actually reckon I'm a big fan of Saint and some of those guys with the fashion-based safety gear. Because I reckon, obviously, safety gear is an awesome idea.
Yeah, so that's the hard thing. Looking cool, but also being safe while you're riding is two things that often don't go hand in hand.
So
there are a lot of companies out there now that are sort of bridging the gap between those two things.
It's true. Well, yeah, I think. Have you looked at that as well? You've been down to Saint?
Yeah, a few times.
Have you been and seen the custom Cafe Racer display we've got on at the moment?
No, the last time I was there was a cruiser out the back that had a bobber kind of set up on it.
We got a new one.
I was very tempted to sit on it, but I was like, no,
it's sold now. I'm going to Queensland's riding that. So that's good. But there's 6 bikes down at Saint at the moment, fully customised. Shout out to Dennis Chapman, he's probably watching. So he's kitted them out, so you should ride down.
Yeah, so. Yeah. I've seen a lot of the gear that they sell in there as well, and a bunch of the kind of classic cars.
Yeah.
And seems like a cool place to. I mean, if you can have a beer.
Yeah.
There should be a pool table in there.
I think there is. Yeah. I'm sure there is. Yeah, I mean, we had a beer when we went there. I think
I mean, you're in Fitzroy. Like that's already cool.
If you don't have tattoos and a beer.
Oh, I did have an idea of like something that we could do as a community of people who already have bikes or braaap bikes, or B, you know, I've been getting a lot of messages at the moment of stuff like. How do you find your bike? Is it worth the money? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you've had done to it? What are some of the things you've had happen to it that, you know? And I think what it comes down to, my experience typically with your parents, because they're mostly who I chat to.
If you're in Frankston, my mum and dad run the workshop. So local.
Like when we were living in Brunswick and I was getting my bike serviced, you know, I had to figure out, right, how do I get from Brunswick to Frankston?
Yeah.
I now live in Frankston, so Paul and Andreas have seen a lot of me in the last...
Got a new truck now to make that easier for people like you that live in the city, so we can pick city bikes up and bring them out back and forth.
I get people's frustration when stuff goes wrong, and half the time it's probably things that maybe they've done in their backyard, like I did, or you know, things that they didn't listen to. Starting the bike with the kill switch on, or putting in the wrong fuel. I don't know. These are just little troubleshooting things that are out there. But every time that I've gone in or called up or had an issue, it's been approached with the same amount of respect. And, you know, I'm not like screaming in the telephone like, this has happened again, blah, blah. It's like, hey, when can you fit me in? Like, this is a daily for me. I don't have a car. And it's always
That'd
like,
be right on it.
come in now.
That's awesome.
You know? So, you know, sometimes it's all like with the warranty and stuff, I haven't had to worry about the big issues that I've had with it.
That's so good. Well, that's an instruction. Like, our staff are instructed to never read the terms and conditions of a warranty. Like, we don't. If you ring up and say that's an issue, we want to fix it because of our relationship, not because of like terms and conditions are only used as a legal protection if someone's a complete dick, basically. And unfortunately, we do get some of those guys. But we pretty much always just do it anyway. Like, it's our brand. If something's discretional, like normally it's pretty black and white. But I think the big thing is, I love what you say, especially about mum and dad and all of our dealers, like Beck and Sean and Christos up on the Goldie we just did, and Troy and the guys in Port Macquarie just been talking to today as well. Like, our dealer network, everyone who's joining us too has that same kind of like family business ethos. So everyone wants to help, but also we're a high volume manufacturer, so we're not trying to sell the Ferrari of motorcycles. We're trying to sell the best value bite. So we want them to be awesome. We want them to be awesome value, but we attract a higher volume of customers than most of our competitors. So that means that we also attract sometimes a difficult clientele. So
people that know more sometimes. But it's like I was saying before, though, you never walk into a Triumph, Harley, Royal Enfield dealership and be like, fix my bike the way that you do see it online and stuff.
Especially being online now, like there's almost, so we don't have a no dickhead policy, but like I'm actually all for it because I want to protect our staff. So I'm a bit of a troll on the internet. If I see someone having a crack at my staff, firstly, I'll always look into the system, and you might see me. I personally, like, I love getting in and like learning if something actually has gone wrong in our system. We read all the comments, read all the Facebook. I'm in Reddit reading. I cop plugging in those things. Most from people who don't know us, never met us, don't even have braaps, but we've got to read it to learn. But our lens is always, what's the system and how do we make it better? If there's an anomaly and maybe a staff member's made a mistake or whatever, we wear that. That does happen. But for the most part, like, the system's pretty good and the staff are awesome, and like so are our dealer reps. Like,
I mean, the same thing happens in cafes and restaurants. Like, if you go eat a meal and you don't like it and you write a review, chances are the business will see that and go, hey, sorry you had such a bad experience. Come back, we'll make it better. Here's a free beer or something. Like,
so true.
The same kind of concept of how you could do it, you know, selling motorcycles. Hey, you didn't do this properly, you didn't like your motorcycle.
I got abused by a guy today. A courier delayed by a week, so not our fault. But he rang us up, said, we're going to be a week, we can't pick it up, we've got to do it. You know, whatever, his run has been delayed, so he's got to delay us. Things happen. We tell the customer rings, I get on the phone to this guy because he's abusing my staff. Say, dude, we're sorry, like, we know it's a week, like, what can we do? Like, some people, but for the most part, like, I wanted to just raise this because we have so many customers that are like just normal like you who get it.
When I inquired about the Honda Rebel, it was a 6-month waiting list anyway.
Wow.
So
interesting.
You know.
Anyway, it's all part of it. So it's, I just like doing these chats just because a big part of being so online these days is like we actually are real people. I make all of my staff, if there's a comment that's negative, they're gonna read it. If it's regarding like their department type thing. So we're real people. We're trying to bring you guys off the internet and into like
the
personal,
real world.
like,
back onto the internet.
And then back onto the internet. Film it to it. So.
But all my experiences have been nothing but pleasant, if anything, and it does. You do feel like you're part of a little family, especially when. You know, I'm chatting to your mum all the time. So.
She loves it. That's good, man. Well, I bet we've been talking for like an hour. So we've had people stop in. I don't know if that's getting edited. Dude, appreciate it. Good to chat, man. Appreciate it.